This.
Yeah, this looks like this is part of,
Yes. So after the meeting, you'll sign that.
is that,
That's the parent with Jason, that's in.
oh, okay, there's, the rest of it isn't in here, I don't think.
Should be. Should be early on before. It's like one of the action items at the beginning.
Oh, okay, I didn't look there.
Oh, just gotta go from the next door. Yes, yeah, that's, when this is locked, I go to that.
Yeah, here it is.
Unlock it. Yeah.
That's just the signature sheet, huh? All right.
Let me lock this.
I also have the Lawley invoice from last month that didn't get signed. It was on the pay rec summary, we paid it. But it just wasn't in the signature file. I did start the engine audit. I got into the system, but I need a report from here. So I'm working with Pep and Siobhan to get something to compare to.
Okay,
Right now, the information in there is, I can't verify it without some kind of report.
Only guy in fire must be know. Well.
It's right here.
you know, I think now I figured, well, I figured I got 2 copies of the packet.
Yeah, super.
That's what I was looking for them. Well, I'm not sure though, which is which though.
This is 31 pages. Let's see.
It's all there. This one has the, this thing.
Mhm, that's the full one. Because the one that's in there is an abbreviated one, and they're not gonna display that. They're gonna go with the one that Terry's presenting.
Okay.
So this is just paper. We'll probably have the annual report ready for the May. That's what we're shooting for, the May agenda.
Okay.
So I'll be getting it to you for review, hopefully within the next few weeks. But if we have to put it on the June agenda, that'll still be time to get it to Albany by the 30th.
What, refresh my recollection, what period of time do we cover with that report?
It is July to June, or not July to June. The report is due June 30th. So we cover as close as we can up to around May.
Our fiscal year, our year actually runs July to July, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So next month I will be sitting with Kim to put the budget together for the fiscal. And I don't think there are any changes we need to have reflected in the bylaws or the board policies, but I will review those also with BSK.
Okay. I mean, no, I don't, as we sit here, I don't think of any, but
How you doing?
How you doing?
Hey.
Hi, Courtney. Nice to meet you. You don't have to be dressed. No, we look for time. Yeah, we can always come back.
That's you, right? Yeah, like it's good to take pictures, man. Take a seat. Security. Yeah. If you want to call it that. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Hi, Tom.
hey there, how are you doing?
All right, I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
I was expecting more costumes in your photo shoot.
I don't get that.
Not you. See the ladies with the.
I stayed away from those because those are a distraction. Those are
You
hindrance.
you didn't stay away, you just didn't share them in your photos. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's not part of my enjoyment, you know.
Uh-huh.
My appeal or anything to that nature. It's
Uh-huh.
have a different objective.
Uh-huh.
All right. See you. Think.
All righty.
Hello, sorry about that.
Thank you.
There he is. How you doing?
I promise you, and I will catch up towards the end of this month or early next budget season.
Yeah, I didn't, when I realized what was going on, I thought, I'm not gonna hear from him.
It's, yeah, but
You got your hands full, yeah.
Mr. Robert, how are you?
I'm great, my friend. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Quick picture, then I can go hide some for the men's picture. That's
Sure. Yes, actually, if you just want to use my office, it's right around the corner.
Do you mind?
Not at
All
all.
right, so let's not this up. Thank you, by the way.
Mhm. Goodness gracious.
Picture, picture. I thought it. All right. that's fair.
Still in withdrawals, just got out of 1%.
Too.
It was good. I mean, it's third world though, you know what I mean? Got to be careful. But it was a cruise, it was, you know, the jazz cruise we do every year.
Uh-huh.
So we went to Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro.
Who are the performers on the cruise? Who performs
So
on?
BB was there.
Oh.
Yeah, he
All right, good.
But
Yeah.
Dave Codd, you know, Brian Simpson, Marcus Anderson, you know, these are probably top musicians.
Nice.
Yeah, this is, we've done this for 7 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Susan.
Oh, that explains it, yeah,
See,
right.
it's third world. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be careful.
You know, That's pretty much all those
Yeah.
islands.
But, so, and then it took us a flight back because it's horrible.
So,
First leg didn't exist, Kimberly.
well, the whole thing is trash. You know, I mean, it's kind of disgusting. You wonder why the
And Chile,
approval rating of Congress is like crapper.
JFK.
You know, people think, hey,
It was crazy.
and you know, nowadays, where the world is.
Ah, well, I don't know. I just.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
That's painful.
Yeah, it was.
Get brought in on
It
those.
was.
Yeah, it's the whole reputation damage. We have to just do these, they do mostly. Just 2,000. I remember just the order back to that. So we'll do it. We're adverse to all the Americans who made the decisions, who made, 12 years of Irish tradition. Our guys had a Irish. And so 1865. We're going outside of the I didn't know that. Which, there's thousands in each.
Yeah.
Starts as.
So where you thinking?
Right outside.
175
That
years.
first office on the left.
But you
Mhm.
can have salt and pepper
Yeah,
now.
the Irish.
Oh, maybe back here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
State of Washington, we have $200 million. That was our cash. The jury comes back. Can't bring anything.
So much for that.
Not even bankruptcy judge. You need some sanity. Or 5 people are gonna get paid in 195.
I was tangentially involved in the one for the Boy Scouts.
Oh, okay.
That one was a national, and they managed to keep that in hand. They got some of those collateral releases, in other words, where the sponsoring organization who really had nothing to do with it got the same kind of protection. Supreme Court ruled against that, but this got in there. There was a window and it was allowed
Oh, okay.
because, you know, it's like, I mean, you think of it as the church, you know, the church would often be the sponsor for the Boy Scout troop, but they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, remember when I was
And
in Boy
it's
Scout, we
yeah.
met at the church.
right, that's right.
That was
That's
all
it.
the hall, yeah.
Yeah. So but if they couldn't get protection, if you settle with the Boy Scouts, and then everybody wanted to turn around and sue the church.
Okay.
We're not getting anywhere here.
Yep.
You know, so getting them pulled into the bankruptcy business.
They're getting ready for a consent order. So my files become public in a database. So a year into UC. Died.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
As they break it out. Yeah. Jeffrey was down and we were doing the Holy Cross Brothers in Boston for about 3 years ago. Which is what they're called.
Yeah, that's,
That there you'll
the
appreciate.
legal relationships were complicated for the Boy Scout, but they're even more complicated for religious organizations. You know, it's not necessarily correct, clear who the hell owns this.
So.
You're always better.
I try to explain to staff. Anyways, you'll get used to it, but fast forward. They have a little significant asset that they need done. So all the records are there. We get a call.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So, well, other situation. You guys have all those employees. We own the land. We founded that school. So
Yeah.
you don't have a say in it. And we weren't pointing fingers, we just. If you should do 7 years ago, it was like, don't. All of a sudden they read through it and realize they don't own any of the land that was built. The guy called it. That's right. Would you like a board room?
Yeah.
When your team's here, do they want to see these sporting events?
Well, you
I said,
know,
we're just into.
all those years where everything just sort of happened and nobody thought about any kind of consequences like it. So when it could have been cleared up easily, it didn't get cleared up.
Gentlemen. Yeah.
50 years ago, you could have cleared that up.
They just kicked the can. Some attorney.
Yeah.
He was just part of it. He went way too far. So just
Yeah.
pushed it way too far. See him now socially. It's actually very different. Sees the judges.
Yeah.
Because now the records, he knew it all. Just, it was sad, but he just pushed it so far. Now they've paid all payouts. They should consent order. Move it to state payments. Research on a basis. It's kind of works well now.
It doesn't sound like a lot of money to express that at the pot,
Well, so
which I have no idea how many.
it's in the billions. We'll get there probably, but there's so many different insurance companies. No insurance. We didn't insure it yet.
They've taken that position
Yeah.
everywhere. Well, they have nothing to win, so
Right.
they might as well put it down with a shot.
Yeah, they'd say, you have a policy in 1950 and you're trying to go back.
Do you?
The.
Is that because
We never been screwed up, which is side still have it on the side. Sure.
Yeah.
Big side. So to come up with a master settlement, so it all. 140 forgiveness. There's 200 victims and cases that proceeded pretty far through the system. So it'll be interesting.
One of the ways the Boy Scout part of actually the local Catholic diocese got settled was they signed the insurance policies to the Clemens and their lawyers.
Okay, cool.
Because they couldn't get anywhere with them.
Yeah, so you go.
So, okay, guys, you can take it. Whatever you get, you keep.
Trust me, they go work.
That's some of ours.
That's what I like here.
Bacon.
That's one of the. The judge they wouldn't agree otherwise.
Not knowing my limitations.
I love it.
Sometimes fighting, but I have no limitations.
Oh, listen, this is yours, right? This was mixed in with, Stanley.
Is that right?
That was a trip.
Got you covered, Mark. You're sitting right next to Jaime.
Okay.
So I guess got your Sign here and
In order.
let's have a list.
Coming over? All right, thank you.
Yeah. So what came?
Yeah.
The bishop that was here,
Did you do the helicopter
it's
trip?
not particularly popular, it's very conservative.
No, we did the train and all that.
Yeah, the train. Kind of weird, leave messed up. I mean, what he didn't have anything to do with it. And,
Yeah.
and after a couple of years, they start blaming him, you know?
That's exactly.
I get back down there.
A whole bunch of other issues that have nothing to do with it.
But
But the perception is money's going.
yeah,
Don't start, don't.
we're looking for,
But. Moving, geez.
what do you think?
Get back.
They fired him.
Yeah, they did. I told you.
You and I were wrong. I thought he had another year.
Nah. But he got a nice job already, so
Did he?
yeah. He's gonna be assistant coach in Virginia. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he did get a nice job.
So he's gonna play against Syracuse.
Staying in the SEC.
Yeah. There's a lot of excitement going in.
McInerney is very popular.
Yes.
Always popular,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes.
Did well, very well at Siena, so, yeah.
This goes world.
And he did do a hell of a job with Siena.
Yes.
There's no question about that.
And now it's taken two of the players, right?
Yes,
Two of the Sienna guys just,
Yeah.
through the portal went to.
To Syracuse. Mhm.
The Temple kid is pretty good too. That they just got.
Oh, I didn't see.
Yes, I mean, for that salary, he's gotta win some games.
Demeanor will probably looks a little more.
He's a nice guy.
Hey, Tom, do you ever keep in touch with Mike Schmidt? Is his wife still refereeing the NCAA finals?
Well, I haven't talked to him, but I assume
She was at the, remember, because she used to do the like women's Final Four and stuff.
he may be doing some of that now too.
He was doing
wanted to,
E3
I
at
know.
the time, and
Yeah.
traveling all over.
He does the scheduling now, from what I hear.
Is that what it is?
Is he still local, or she was in Connecticut, so is he
Hey.
still local?
How you doing? A little better. How you? How you?
Zero recalls.
You look pretty good. Yeah.
4 days ago.
Oh, okay.
Have a little lift since then, I think.
Yeah.
We'll take a little bit of pressure off the Achilles.
Well, it's a nasty, had Achilles thing. Nasty problem. As you know.
Two trains and a bus, yes. It was the true, genuine weakness. Mr. Chair saying,
How you doing?
I choose to be good.
One step at
I choose to be good.
That's right.
One step at a time.
Oh, definitely.
What's going on, sir?
Springtime.
Yes, it is.
So we're looking for Peckham and Terrence.
You don't have any sign in.
Oh, we don't.
Oh, perfect. That would have been.
Is it the right size?
I stretch it. How you doing?
Good, you?
How you doing? I choose to be good.
You choose to be good, that's a good choice.
Others are worse.
I want to ask Terry.
Stranger.
Hey, Terrence.
Well, nice to see you.
Got better.
So what,
Good.
Some of worship. Yeah, fair.
what are you gonna cover? I mean, not all of this, I assume.
Well, I was going to try to do it as quickly as possible, but touch on it.
Well, the reason I say that is
There's major nights.
the stuff in the beginning I could see, but I'm not real sure about the stuff in the middle here. I know I'm the one who precipitated this whole thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, so what I was gonna do.
Maybe it's not as bad as it looked.
No, and this was only to show, this is the area that I'm.
I haven't started with trouble.
Really, there's only.
I mean,
10 seconds a slide.
the reason I feel like I talk fast, I mean, this is always got time.
All the rest are worse, man.
Doing this, I want you.
Share with you.
Yeah. What it is, why does this take a long time, and why is it?
I was thinking might be up there
And if they
draft
don't,
document.
you can do that by sort of walking.
Hey, gentlemen.
Right off.
Hey, Russ.
How are you?
And this district.
Long time no see.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Otherwise, it's gonna, because they really can't decide it's to the board.
Ready for the show?
That's the purposes. Well, they can't. What are they gonna say? No,
I
you
will be
shouldn't.
more ready in a couple hours, but
Not really.
read over the presentation.
Unless somebody is. Bigger concept.
But most of this will be done. Speeches tonight. Mr. Coleman, how are you, sir?
As well as you. The concept is really loud. Just look at them. I've heard them say it's not as well as you.
Okay, all right.
All right, take care.
It is nice to see you again.
Yeah, stay here, stay here.
Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay, so all set? Yep. Together. These two, yeah. So, Sam.
So Kim, have we gotten anybody sign on here?
Jim Jones, and that's pretty much all we need.
Welcome, Kim Jones.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good. All right, with the addition of Kim Jones, we have a quorum and we'll call the meeting to order. First item of business are the approval of the minutes of March 10th. Those minutes were included in the packet that was sent to you. Any questions or comments about the minutes? Seeing or hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them. Thank you. Jesse,
I'll second.
let me down, Jesse. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Good. We'll move on to the requisition, the monthly requisition that Kim Jones will color.
Yep. So let's see, we've got payments to Anshin totaling $26,733. Avalon Document Services Holdings LLC, $164.18. Bond Shonik and King, $4,120.50. Buffalo Construction Consultants, $24,344.25. Lawley Construction Solutions, $150. LaChase, $25,686.71. Savin Engineers, $458,105.88. SWBR, $428,830.08. The Daily Record, $46.68. And lastly, Watts Architecture and Engineering for $26,656.30. Total disbursements of $994,837.58. Any questions?
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
I tried to do that last time when you weren't here. It did not go well. Appreciate your being here.
Absolutely.
Questions or comments about the requisition? Seeing or hearing none, then we'll entertain a motion to approve the requisition for this month.
I'll move it.
It's been moved, seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? It carries. Okay, we have what I think is the last of the amendments that brings us, that deals with the additional funds that were approved for the project. Is that true?
Got a couple more for Padilla.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I mentioned at the last meeting that, that's taken longer because we're also going through the phasing and, that would actually have more of an impact for an amendment than the dollar impact, additional scope.
Okay.
So they're working through that now.
But this does relate to the additional monies that we got for the project. That means we've had to go through all of these contracts and renegotiate.
Correct.
You ready to present?
Questions or comments about this one item? Again, that was in the packet as well. Seeing or hearing none then? I'll entertain-
Chairman, which one are you referring to? Oh, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, we're referring to the Chase.
Oh, yeah, no,
It was item number 3,
yes, I have a couple of questions.
right?
The increase is roughly 21 million. Pepin, is that to the whole project? That's construction.
That is the increase from the legislative extension of 125.
Then down on exhibit B, let's see, let me find exhibit B, there was it says the contract time will not be changed, so the work that you guys are gonna be doing will not impact the final date.
Correct, for now, yes. And again, this is amendment 1, as Chairman Richards mentioned, similar to what was done in previous months for Wilson Magnet. We did that last month for Douglas. The change in contract includes pre-construction and CM services to increase the fixed limit of construction by 20.6 million.
Yeah.
And it's the phase 2.82% of that amount.
Yep, I understand. Okay, thank you.
And of course, Brian and his team reviewed the diversity plan and they may have commented on that.
We went over with them, the numbers are all going to come out and they're increasing their participation to reflect the new dollar amounts in their contract.
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, good, thanks. Any other questions or comments? It was moved and seconded then, so we'll, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Chesson Tech. Schematic design.
Moved in second.
These two guys right over there, the end of the row there.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, thank you.
I've asked Terry and Pepin to give you a little more detailed rundown on this than we might ordinarily do, for 2 reasons. One of them is there have been changes here, as we indicated at last month, and it's important we all realize what they are. They're largely, though, governed by what the district wants and needs and what negotiated items we can do with them in terms of the feasibility. It's not for us to determine what the most important thing to do there is, but we are responsible for determining feasibility of that item. In other words, can it be afforded to this budget that we have, and we get it done in that time frame? And that kind of process of back and forth is going to happen and has happened on all of these projects. And most of what you see will be being done over the next 6 months or more before we actually get into construction will be this process that you're going to talk about right now. So you and I can't contribute a whole lot to the element decisions. Those are decisions in terms of either technical competency or the district's needs. But we do need to be aware of what's going on here in terms of the process that brings these final projects to us, or final programs to us. And Edison turned out to be a good example because it's got a lot of different things that impact it. There were some very strong feelings about things that should survive and be important for Edison and have been put off for a long time, really. So those kinds of a balance. And it's interesting, particularly in the high school, this is not a totally technical decision. There's a certain amount of emotion associated with what kind of facilities you have for recreation at Edison. And the people feel strongly about it and should. So we have to figure out how to accommodate that as best we can. So with that, Terry, give me your talk.
Could flip to the next screen. Next slide, please. And Chief Scott has been intimately involved in these meetings and decisions in what scope might, be sacrificed and what scope might be saved, along with what might just be put into an ad alternate so that we still design it and may be able to salvage it later once bids come in. So please, Chief Scott, as I'm going through this, if there's anything that you see and you want to add to the discussion, just throw it right out. So the site work, we all know how important the site work was or is to Edison. But it's also one of the costs that is, that stresses the aidability because of the incidentals being over the MCAs. So it puts pressure on that aidability. So there's certain areas that we look at where we could potentially cut or put off to an alternate and then fine tune that with the district. One of those was, there's 2 storage buildings. So we looked at sacrificing one of those storage buildings, still maintaining one so they have some facilities out there. This piece of walk here was designed as concrete. We're looking at providing that as asphalt. The sports netting to catch balls at the ends of the fields. We're looking at putting in as ad alternates. Not huge numbers, but every little bit is needed for the budget and the aidability. They had designed a thin canopy along the whole main entrance. That was eliminated. There was a canopy for the east entrance, which is where the nicest students enter the building. So we didn't want to just eliminate it. We wanted to maintain something there. So we did reduce the size, but gave them enough of a canopy for their entrance to protect them as they're coming in. So that was a reduction. And then redoing this parking lot and a little bit of repair work on the service station building, which, by the way, that probably wouldn't have been aided anyways. So that was eliminated. So getting into the building, what I did here for the slide you're about to see is the whole floor plan. And then I highlighted what I'm going to talk about so you can at least get the picture of where it is in the building. So in the athletic wing, the pool, the greenhouse, and the locker room. In the greenhouse, we eliminated the shading system at the windows, and we changed from in exterior. We're going to be providing for base scope an interior portable dust collection system and upgrade to an exterior unit as an ad alternate. Instead of providing 2 bathrooms, we're looking at providing 1, and we're eliminating the lockers in this area. Again, replacing lockers in the main locker rooms, that was eliminated in order for a reduction. And then in the gymnasium, and this actually goes along with what the users had wanted is, the BCS had replacing that gym partition, but that was very expensive. And actually the users were giving us some functional feedback that they liked the curtain better than the partition. So this actually winds up becoming value engineering, not just a cut. So we're changing from replacing the partition to installing a curtain. So in the center part of the first floor, we talked to facilities about the boiler system. The initial concept was replacing the entire boiler system with 3 cast iron boilers with new flues, breaching, everything. That was almost $1 million worth of work. What we settled on with talking with them was keeping a budget of $225,000. We'll work with them through design on what we wind up doing. The original concept we had was to fix up what's there. to last until you do your next project. They actually had some different ideas. That's why we're talking about working together on how it gets formulated. Possibly replace 2 of the modular boilers, leave that concept in place so we don't have to replace breaching, but can improve the maintenance and durability of what's there.
Yeah, Terry, if I may, those condensing boilers are only 15 years old. With scheduled maintenance and some repairs, they can last another 20 years. Of course, you gotta pay attention to them. They're a lot more efficient. They're about 90% efficient compared to cast iron boilers that are probably 65% efficient. So going to repairs instead of full replacement not only saves money, but also on energy efficiency decision as well.
In the CTE spaces for, one of the scopes was to create an HVAC program. So taking the carpentry storage shop and creating a HVAC room, which was there previously. And we were going to reconfigure the space. Well, after user group meetings and talking with facilities, they had already put a request in, and we're looking at reestablishing the HVAC room. Plus the users really wanted to leave things configured the way they were. So we'll still be doing the HVAC work, but the layout of the rooms has been eliminated in conformance with what the user groups want also. Throughout the building, you're going to see this note in several places. And so it's sort of spread through the building is you've got a lot of nice special education rooms in the building. And one of the base scope items we were trying to include was putting a dedicated toilet room within each of those rooms. I say dedicated where there's 2 rooms next to each other. We had actually configured it so that was one in between with both rooms having access, but they don't have to go down the hall in order to hit a toilet room. We've really had to cut deep, so we've had to remove and eliminate all of those toilet rooms.
Terry, those rooms are what they refer to as self-contained special ed classrooms because the students basically could stay in that space short of special subjects a la art or CTE. And the density of NICE students just makes providing those facilities so extensively in the building cost prohibitive.
One of the things too, I'll just add is certainly we had an extensive conversation with our NICE teams, both in the building, but also district level too. And it's one of those things where, those students still do need to get out of the classroom at times and be able to utilize the bathrooms just like all the other students in the school as well.
To get a break from their environment.
Yeah. Because these are our older, NICE students as well. So it's not like it's at an elementary or even a middle school level.
Yeah. And that's exactly the case in this whole area, is eliminating toilet rooms. Culinary, what we've left in the base scope is replacing any non-functioning equipment in there so that for the base scope, all their equipment will work for what they need. The renovations are becoming an ad alternate. So if there's money available, district can make a decision whether to accept that or one of the other ad alternates. So it's still going to be designed, but it's not part of the base scope. Up in this area, again, we've got some toilet rooms, but then also in this area, and you'll find one other area, we've eliminated the ductwork insulation, which also triggered ceiling and wall replacement work in the rooms. We're still going to be doing the corridors, but we were having to replace all the ceilings and the demountable walls in those areas. In order to cut and save money, we needed to eliminate that insulation, which gave us the ability to eliminate replacing the ceilings. Those are the 4x4 ceilings and demountable walls. If we disturb them, you pretty much almost have to replace them, which is why we were excluding that. That is a future, scope that the district does want to accomplish. And that's this whole area down in here is all related to the rooms and the insulation and ceilings I just talked about. So up on the third floor, again, this whole section is the insulation. We've got toilet rooms up in here, and then over in here is the living wall. Originally, we were going to remove it and rebuild the area. We're just leaving it in place, and maybe the students can create a program for recreating it. We left a little bit of money in to repair some of the plumbing, but it's going to be left in place. And then some general notes through the building is originally we were trying to get rid of those 5x5 ceilings and demountable walls through the whole building, but that was extremely expensive. It was like almost $6 million worth of work. So that was one of the first things that we had to look at removing from the project. We had originally we had 143 electrical panels we were going to replace. Now the panels, parts are still available for them and they're still serviceable. So we cut it from 143 to 93 panels. So we're leaving 50 in place, but they can still be serviced and they can still get parts for them. We originally were looking at replacing the clock system building-wide. It's still functional. We're going to leave the clock system in place, but we've left an allowance of $35,000 for specific areas that we need to install clocks or reconfigure clocks or whatever we need to do. And then light fixtures, areas that we're not renovating, we're not going to replace the entire fixture, but we are going to go in and convert the bulbs to LED bulbs for energy efficiency. So that's what got us under the budget that we have. And what little bit we're under, there was some field work that developed after the budgets had been set or the estimates had been set. So it's a little bit more money, and we're expecting that the savings that we've got between our current estimate now or the revised estimate against the budget will fund that development in the field of how the bleachers had flip-flopped on the field. So the schedule remains. We're in the process of getting ISR approval. We have some news on that, Jacob. I don't know if you want me to share it, if you want to go ahead and share it with the.
Yeah, we could do that as part of the PM report.
Okay. So the next stage is moving on to 25%. So that's what this presentation was for, is to support the resolution to approve the schematics and where we are, got it down to budget, showed how, so that we can give direction to move on into the 25% design.
Just wanted to thank you, Chief Scott, for your patience working with us through this whole exercise. It was painful, but we had us. And with everybody's help and Terry's work, we're able to.
Couple things to remember. Remember Edison is the school with the difficulty with respect to the concrete supports. So we're already putting a fair amount of money into that. It's a separate item. It's not shown in this item, but it reflects an investment in Edison, and it puts pressure on the total amount that you spend out there. And that's part of it. The other part of it is that the athletic fields were built in an area that had a certain amount of waste destroyed or buried in it. So we had to spend a fair amount of time and money making sure we could do what we say we could do here. And that was already been spent. It came out okay, but it constrains the total cost that we invest in this whole thing. And we also, this is the second time we've been in Edison. We've been in Edison once before. That that project got slowed down because that's where we discovered we had all these problems with the supports and the concrete. And that Edison is a big school. I mean, it's spread out all over the place if you've ever been there. It's a major undertaking, just to keep it functioning.
Then you'll notice that none of the cuts attacked any of the structural work.
Yeah.
No,
Get
no.
that in.
Yeah, that's all separate item on top of this thing, but.
If you want to include phase one, this is the.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, the last slide that Terry has here, I notice, says questions and answer. The answer being singular, the questions being plural. So Terry is going to give you one answer, so pick your question carefully here.
Exactly. They all have to be related questions, so I could just do it with a single answer.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes,
You're
right?
going to get cut off, obviously. But if we waive that requirement, any questions or comments about it?
So we went from about 134 million down to 104.
Yes,
That was my question.
Right, so.
exactly.
So I have two questions. Hopefully you can just give me one answer. How much do we have in contingency for this particular project?
So this early in design, we're carrying design contingency to the tune of almost, 13 to 15% at this stage.
So you have about 13 to 15 million in contingency.
Correct. Plus a 10% construction contingency for after we go into construction.
So you're carrying 10% construction, which is about 11 million. So you have about 20, 25 million that you're holding.
Yes.
All right. So have we prioritized the add alternates yet?
We have not. Usually we wait till a little later in design before we start doing that because there's even going into 50%, there's a lot of fluctuation and from the developing design. So usually we wait till we get into 50% towards the 75s that we start prioritizing the add alternates.
Because it sounds like right now you have about 80% of it covered in contingency if we don't have any major issues.
Correct, except, historically, the developing design uncovers enough that it's been chewing up the contingencies, along with having us to examine scope all over again.
Well, in simple speak, the construction contingency, we try very, very, very hard to save that until construction because these old buildings tend to have a story of their own. To expect through the design process and the bidding process to expend the design estimating contingency so that 15% will get absorbed in the design and bidding, and the 10% would be held for change orders and the like or unforeseen conditions in construction.
So Kim, if you could go to the PM report, page 29, we can.
That's right, those numbers are there.
Yeah. So,
The only,
you guys are mentioning 10%, we gotta be careful with that. And you're right, because of the existing nature of these projects, we are holding, if you look at the construction part of it, we have a separate line, Rob, for construction contingency, we call it construction reserve, right there. And then you go across, for each one of them, we carry something. To Rolly's point, there's two. These are existing schools. You don't know what you're gonna find. In phases 1 and 2, the state allowed us to do a demolition package where we were able to kind of split the bidding. We were able to do investigation, complete the design, and reduce the amount of change orders coming to you. But for phase 3, we were not allowed to do early packages. So within the construction budget for each trade, I believe Rolly and Terry are carrying some dollars as well, but I want to be careful and show 5% is what we have on paper as far as reserve for construction. And so Edison specifically, you'll see that number is 4 million. Right, Sharon?
Correct.
And Doing design, again, to Terry's point, we want to lock the design as schematic. This is where we are now. The statute says we got to submit that 25%, 50%, 75%, and then 100%. So we also added a 90% stage for these guys to solidify the list of alternates and prioritization of those alternates with Chief Scott and his team at that point, because right now it's too early.
The other thing, of course, we have to do, and the reason this is being done actually as a preliminary, is we've got to come to an accommodation with SED about what's hateable and what isn't. That can affect the design actually when you have to move things around to try to accommodate that. Although we're being able to make that 95% goal for the entire, all of the projects, which helps a little bit. But it also shows you what can happen, and it's happened already once at Edison. Remember when the original problem with Edison came up about the work we had to do on the beams? We took money out of East to pay for it. Because when you looked at the total project, that seemed like the best item to do, and we had no choice but to do the Edison work. So something that happens over here can have an impact on something that happens over here. Hopefully, we won't have much more of that left, and we don't know of any of it. But we want to be able to make those judgments because we don't want to just get locked into a set of circumstances where we go right over the cliff with the fact that we've got some kind of problem. It can't best be done.
Does that answer your question?
It's good today.
Happened the 135 million for Edison was the 125 million that was allocated in December by the state. Was there an increase in Edison also?
Yes.
Budget? So that got us to 135.
Yes.
Okay.
Originally, Edison was a lot less, and Chairman Richards mentioned the transfer from East to Edison. With the extension, we were able to restore East and add dollars to Edison to bring it up to issue.
So it didn't get construction up to the 130. That's what the estimate of the scope that was shown was. It got us to the 104.
Yeah.
We were lower than 104 originally.
He's looking at the total list.
Oh, the project total.
Yeah.
I'm always dealing with construction dollars and.
Yes, but Ron is adding the incidentals as well. So 130 is for the entire project.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's a little more than one answer, but it's okay.
Okay.
This item is going to be packaged up with some, finishing touches. And it will be part of the preliminary submission that we intend to send to SED momentarily. When I say momentarily, we got a few things to get taken care of, particularly with respect to some approvals with the special needs. But we're close there and making progress, and we've done most of the work necessary to put this package together. So when we get that, somebody sign off on that, then we're in a position to really go for it. That's real important to us because to be fair to SED, one of the reasons they went for this preliminary design, which was a new item, is it allows them and us to get some sense of whether there's going to be a problem of how things are allocated here. It would be better, obviously, to know that sooner so that we can contend with it, however we choose to do so. So getting this thing underway is important to both of us. We're asking therefore for your approval with respect to the schematic design. There's a resolution in the packet with respect to that. And it's the resolution, 37? That's in the packet. So I'll entertain a motion to approve that. It's been moved by Jesse. Thank you. Other questions or comments? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. A lot of work here, as you could tell, a lot of work and work on the part of the district to sort out their needs here and to sort out their priorities. But there've been some complaints in the past about the level of engagement that the district had in this process, and those complaints would no longer be valid. Okay, that gets us into some of the other information elements of the process. Brian, why don't you go next?
Great, thank you. No, good afternoon. So our February numbers for 2026, the analysis of the workforce is as follows. So as of March 31st, we had 96.61% of all the required documents submitted to us. Some of them come in late, and you'll see here where we update that. But the phase 3, we've received 99.22% of all the requested and required documentation for the project. So when we look at it, the analysis of our workforce to date, up through February, we have total hours of 59,296. The breakdown of that is minority hours worked during the month of February, 812. Non-minority women, 207 hours, non-minority male, 785 hours, for a total of 1,804 hours of work during the month of February. Then when we break down to look at our comparison overall on the participation of the hours, minority, both male and female, we have a goal of 23%. We're currently at 37.94. Women, non-minority only, we have a goal of 7%, and we're currently at 13.60%. When we look at the comparison of goals overall and break out the female participation differently, minority male only, still keeping a goal of 23%, we're at 25.89. And then women, both minority and non-minority, keeping the goal at 7%, we're at 23.46%. Our business participation utilization, we've awarded contracts of $83,821 for the total contract value. Our MBE, we have a goal of 18%. We're currently just under 31%, and our contract value to MBEs is $25,976,000. Our WBE, we have a contract value of $6,908,000, which represents 8.4% of our goal. And our goal is at 12%. Our SBE, we have a goal of 2%. We're currently at 1.88%, and that's for $1,573,000. Lastly, our DBE, we also have a goal of 2%. We're at 2.98, which represents $2,493,000. Although phase 3 does not have a participation for the workforce of Rochester City residents, currently there were 4, we do track it, there were 4 residents that were active in the project during the month of February, which is 11.76% of the 34 individuals who worked on it. The one area where we're making progress but still struggling is on our WBE. Keep in mind that some of our businesses can be both M and Ws. They have to select which one they're going to do. Once we get into the construction contracts, I think we'll start to see where we're under by 3 3/4%. We'll start to tighten that number up quite a bit. Any questions for anybody? And that's plural, the questions.
Just one question, Brian. The 59,000 hours, is that just the primary contract holder, or that it also include the minority or participation?
Includes all.
Okay.
It's everybody that rolls into it. Yep.
Were we able to determine if there are any participants that were involved in the BOP program?
You know, we did that 2 months ago, and I gave that list. Jeff, were there any additions? Because there were four that we reported out, I think, 2 months ago on, that were 4 prior BOP graduates that are participating on the program. Is the number still? It's the same right now. And we're still at 4 of those.
Just to correct.
Can we just add that element to the report?
Absolutely. Yep. Well, we can add that. And Jeff, do you have the 4 names right there? We can actually read off the 4 names that were there. And that's also when we get into the construction phase, we hope to really expand upon, those top graduates who participated to make sure they're afforded the opportunity.
Thank you.
You were showing 4 active businesses.
Well, they have contracts, so they may not have started to perform under their contract. Because I don't think they've started to perform, but they're under contract from the prime to participate.
Well, one is a photographer here, Jerome Flood.
Okay.
As well as CNC Miraculous Cleaner.
Right.
They no
And
longer
they're
have.
actually performing, set 2, and then who are the other 2, Miles or Jeff, that have contracts?
Yes, the other 2 are Lalou PR and Press Click.
Rick, Press Click has not started yet, correct? But we do have something with them. And
The last 2, we
Yeah.
had contracts, but they hadn't started to perform under their contract.
I don't think CNC is still on contract.
CNC was replaced with a different company here. They were not performing, and we now have a minority company that's Agent Cleanup, that's cleaning this office, the RJSCB office. So CNC is gone.
Oh, when we get to the construction part, which is fortunately a ways away, then the number of opportunities grows exponentially. And that's where we ought to hope pick some of this up.
And to that, just as a side work that we're doing in Syracuse and Buffalo, we did work with Kim and that got all the graduates to make sure they were invited and knew of those projects. Unfortunately, we're done on the tracking side of that, so I don't know how many, but several of them did come to our outreach and were introduced to prime bidders on those, unrelated to the city, but were BOP graduates. And we included those in our outreach program.
Okay. Anything else for Brian?
Thank you.
Thank you, Pepin, or excuse me, Kim Mitchell.
Thank you, Chairman Richards. This is the budget report for this fiscal year. And we have all of our vendors currently under budget for this fiscal year. We will be working with the treasurer probably next month to set the budgets for the next fiscal year. And those probably will be based on construction numbers. For the fund balance report, the balance going in for the Phase 3 account is $10,795,061.62. When subtracting the current pay requisition for this month, we have a balance of $9,800,224. The amount expended to date was reconciled with Siobhan and Chris Coleman at the city. So it's been updated to $20,773,943. When we look at the RJSCB expenses, the actual expenses for the insurance and audit have been updated based on the actual invoices to $18,153. RJSCB health funds remain unchanged. Those are the AG dollars that we have for discretionary funds. The RSMP admin expenses, which are BSK, Savin, and Anshin, are $9,537,000 or $37,011, 21% of budget. And RSMP construction costs, which are only soft costs, no hard construction numbers, $11,218,778, which is 2% of the budget. That's it.
Thank you. Question for Kim. Seeing none. Pepin, the program manager's report.
Thank you, Chairman. We briefly looked at this spreadsheet that we work with Kim and Siobhan together on a monthly basis. There are no hard construction costs incurred to date. As of last month, 12.38% of the incidental budget was spent, or $20,773,943 paid to date. With the current progress, the overall phase 3 program is 3.46% complete, although we're 2+ years into the program, with 96.54% of the program remaining until 2033. That includes the 2-year extension. As far as the report itself, the overall financial plan update, our biweekly calls continue with, if you could go for refunding the phase 1, 2013 and 2015 maturities for the upcoming Comida Series 2026 bond issue scheduled for June 10th. Pre-closing a day earlier. So the working group is a pretty large group right now, is on schedule with the transaction roadmap. We have approvals currently from the RJSCB, the School District's Board of Ed, and Comida, and the mayor's and city council approval is scheduled for May 19th. Hopefully, I believe Mrs. Jones says this will occur.
Yes. So we're on schedule for the May meeting. There's the date for the Comida public hearing. It should say 2026.
2026. That is correct. Yep. Correct. Oh, just 2016. Oh, I corrected. You see it, Kim? It's under overall financial plan update, second line. It should say 2026. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So as far as the financial update continued, now that we have a final report from the demographer, we work really hard with the Chief Scott and the school district's special ed office and others, and the Dr. Orden and Terry Locante. So our initial building aid calculations have been updated for review by SED with the preliminary submission. As far as the SED approval update, a month ago, our target date for preliminary submission was the 8th of April. However, that date was predicated on securing the regional associate signature on the instructional space review forms by the 3rd of April. That was last month. Since then, there have been several meetings and work sessions with Chief Scott, the district special ed office, Terry, requiring modifications to the ISR forms. In fact, Chief Scott held a meeting this morning, I believe, with Melissa and associates and Terry to update the narratives and finalize the special ed narratives. And the next step is to obtain signatures from officials whom are required to sign a form. Chief Scott, anything you want to add to?
You were spot on. I mean, there are multiple meetings, and I appreciate Terry and of course our district personnel just going through the forms. I'm pretty sure we're at a really good place right now. We just received an email prior to this meeting from the associate superintendent BOCES for her, for that particular signature. So we're looking pretty good. I might almost say by the end of the week here.
My fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So assuming the school districts and regional associate signatures are secured by end of this week, Terry, the preliminary submission for all 6 projects would be made by mid next week or so?
At the latest, yeah,
At the
'cause we
latest.
only need a day or two to assemble everything.
So, and also Terry's been adjusting the master schedules with the team to account for the delayed construction start dates of the first group of projects to summer of 2027 now. So the matrix you'll see here, again, we showed that last month, highlights the required signatures on the SCD paperwork for preliminary submission. And the signed instructional space review form remains the critical path. And Rolly always makes sure that statement is in the report. So the next, I'll go quickly through as far as the individual project updates, there's nothing new to report on school number 9. We are slowly coming out of the soft pause. Is there anything you want to?
Yeah, where we are with school 9 is the test fit for Jefferson. This ISR review and signatures in order to get the preliminary submission on has taken priority over everything. But we get that in, we'll drop back. We've done the test fit, need to do a preliminary review with the district and then various people within it, user groups, eventually getting down to the principal level to make sure that, everything works for them, to get ready for the move next year. So that's really the key item on MLK.
And for the others, whether it's Wilson or Padilla or East or Douglas, again, we've been working on the scope, prioritization. We make sure we can afford the projects and stay within the budget that have been allocated for each of them. There's really not much. In Edison, we already prepared the presentation.
Yeah, the two important things to note is on Padilla and Edison is the phasing. So we've been working diligently and I actually have the logistics plan, preliminary proposed logistics plan to go along with the phasing plan for Padilla. I need to do a review of that. And then we'll start doing the reviews with the district. Our process has always been reviewing it with Chief Scott, facilities, and then down to the principal level. And we need to get through that point to make sure that we can, fine tune those phasing plans and those logistics plans. Fence lines work, partitions work, how many rooms, how much space we can take and they can still function in the space we're leaving occupied. There's enough science rooms, there's enough special ed rooms in the half that they're going to be occupying as an example. That's the fine-tuned discussion we need to get to now that we've gotten everything captured on paper conceptually that we think works. Now it's to test it with the people that need to look at it. That's what's going on between Edison and Padilla.
Yeah, and the other two, Wilson and Douglas, Rob meets with the architect and the owner on a weekly basis. We participate in those meetings and we're doing what we can without stretching the design too far along and staying within our limits.
Well, at East and Douglas, we're still developing what the district wants for scope. So, as an example, Douglas, we had reported previously that, the district and various, facilities and user groups had a long list of things that they wanted in the job, which we all knew was going to, the process that Tom talked about earlier, it was going to result in a higher estimate than what we have for a budget. But at the same time, it gives the district the choice of what scope should become part of the job, even if something was, an item or priority within the strategic plan. Things have changed since the strategic plan, so they may decide that they want something else in its stead. So that's what this process goes through. And both East and Douglas are at that early stage of developing that design so that They could decide what goes in it. We still have the same amount of money, the same ability. It's just what scope do they trade out to get what they want for that budget? That's the process we're going through right now.
That's close to the report, and next month we'll bring back that chart that's included in the packet. That shows what each level of design means, from program verification to schematic design, where we lock the design and really should make any more changes. And then from there, once you approve it, we make the preliminary submission and we go to the 25% when we're allowed to do so. After we get comment back from SEB on preliminary submission and schematic design.
Theoretically, that's the rules.
Yep. Pretty much it.
Okay, questions or comments for Pepin? Seeing or hearing none, up, any generally? This is your chance to run around the corner from Terry's limit of one answer. Okay, thank you very much, folks. We appreciate your hanging in there with us. We'll adjourn the meeting.
Thanks.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
So.